not an expert in footballs. I'm not an expert in football measurements.
I don't want anyone rubbing them, putting in the air in them, taking the air out. To me, those balls are perfect, and that's what I expect when I show up.
I can't hold on to football. It's so goddamn hard about holding on to it.
Introducing Mike Cash Collins and Scott Staggs Simpson as the Fantasy Millionaires.
Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney, Dak Prescott, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Pitts, Cam Akers, Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, Patrick Mahomes. Week 1 drip hits different. Scott, week 1, it is on. Your thoughts?
Let me just say, honestly, I spent the first 2 hours before I called you sitting very respectfully, like a gentleman of leisure. So, like somebody who might accept a transition of power between a dying dead monarch and a son, who just got his first job at 73. I was just accepting it. And, oh, yes, a touchdown. Oh, yes, a field goal. Oh, yes, okay, beautiful. It looks just soaking it all in. And then I just started getting so excited I couldn't sit down. And then I started pacing my basement, yelling to nobody in particular. And that's when I called you. And I decided just to share my joy of the NFL and live it with you. And we talked for hours, just yelling and screaming, watching blocked extra points to stop overtimes or just to cause overtimes. I mean, oh man, I was just going bananas. So it does hit different, man. It hits like you always wanted it to hit. It was the greatest day ever yesterday, unless you had Dak Prescott, Najee Harris, T. Higgins, any of these mega stars.
Kyle Stinky Pitts.
I'm talking about guys who got hurt though. Like that's what you hate to see is just straight injury. So Dak gone for maybe half the year. You saw T.J. Watt tear his pec, things like that. I'm not into injuries. They happen, but whew, man, what a crazy Sunday. What stood out to you besides Kyle Pitts just dudding it up?
Saquon Barkley is the truth. He looked how he's always looked, and then even better. I mean, just he doesn't, cross your fingers. He doesn't look like he's going to get injured. He just looked like what I've always envisioned him to look like in the NFL. Just the way he was making choices, and just he is a freaking bowling ball with Wile E. Coyote speed. I mean, he's just so athletic. RB1 on the week. So
and to go along with that, I tweeted out today, celebrating your 2018 Fantasy Football League championship. You fall and hit your head, slipping into a terrible prolonged coma that you just awoke from yesterday to watch Saquon rush for 164 yards and a TD, leading all RBs with 27.4 fantasy points. You think all is right in the world. You don't understand the journey of the last 3 years with Saquon. For him to get back here, it's really impressive. And not just that, but to win the freaking game in the last minutes, being used on the goal line in that little shovel pitch, Patrick Mahomes play to get stopped, to not even go into that, just to move around it and to go in. He cut laterally. He went just a great move to see him back. I love it, man. And you have him. Congratulations.
I've always been a Saquon guy.
You always
So I've always bought in, and when I had the opportunity to get him this year in the second round in our home league, I got him. But it was with trepidation, and this could be the year. This could be the year that we've all been waiting for since 2018. This could be Saquon RB1 season.
Saquon season, right?
It could be. I mean, when you see him on the football field, like what you saw week 1 is maybe the best running back in the NFL.
Listen, I'm not trying to toot our own horns here, but it wasn't me who said it. Stephania Bell did come on Chalk Blocked and say Saquon looked like he was back and to draft him. And I put it all over Twitter. I told people. It was not a secret. I shared that information. And you chose, if like Mike, to listen and to apply, and you're reaping the benefits. Kudos.
I'll tell you what, though. Week 1 overreactions, week 1 depression. I have Kadarius Toney, I think, on every team, and I have 5 shares of Kyle Pitts. So it was definitely rough seeing. Kyle Pitts did get targeted some. I saw our man Lord Dennis Carter put out a tweet, something like he had more targets per route run in week 1 than his entire 2021 season. So you do have that, or you do have Kyle Pitts owners do have that going for him. Man, I still think, I do think he's got a rough matchup next week. But I do think he'll the cream will rise to the top, and he'll be okay, but just not what you want to see week 1. You just, it's there's a dark rain cloud already beginning on all this draft capital you spent, and then Kadarius Toney, this late
not
round,
on the field.
Not on the field.
Not on the field.
Not on the field.
Not on the field.
So sad. And then the 2 times he gets on the field, he's like electric. He's so electric.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly. But then you see the game and they win. Sterling Shepard catches a touchdown. So, I'm not
James Robinson. How about this? How about everything that was going on with Cam Akers on Friday? James Robinson completely changed my mind on Achilles heel injuries. So,
I think it is more. James Robinson has always been better than Cam Akers.
No,
dude,
not
fantasy wise. Fantasy wise,
because Cam Akers has just kind of dealt with. He's had stuff so far.
They both got hurt. They both had the same injury. So
yeah, but didn't Cam Akers also had another something that messed up his season? He was electric when he first came in the league. James Robinson, undrafted. Cam Akers, first round draft pick.
Yeah, drafted.
So I'm just saying, if it's just funny how the swings of week 1. I'm just saying that what I saw out of James Robinson really excited me, because I don't have a single share of Cam Akers.
Me neither.
None. And
None.
I have Darrell Henderson on almost every one of my teams. So this doesn't, benefit my fantasy teams, but I'm really rooting for Cam Akers. And I thought after that game that maybe he has, best case scenario is halfway through the season, he kind of regains the backfield. And I never heard of people coming back from Achilles tears like this, Right. So to see James Robinson get 2 tutties on Sunday was pretty exciting. I think there's a little. I think James Robinson can give a little bit more hope for
Cam Akers,
owners,
managers, and stuff. Yeah. We'll talk about James Robinson later in Elevate, Mitigate, Eviscerate. I'm really excited about that. So this year we are rocking and rolling on YouTube. We're on Twitter too, but we're primarily focusing on YouTube. So we've pulled out the stops, right? Some of the accoutrement we have include sound effects. Noise, right? Which you got to have. But also, we're trying to up the game this year for Elevate, Mitigate, Eviscerate, The Wire, and also DFS Stacks of Cash with graphics. So we're going to present those to you. So, Collins, I'm going to let you go first. We normally save DFS Stacks of Cash for later. Elevate, Mitigate, Eviscerate, The Wire. We normally start with The Wire, correct?
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure, because you never can be too sure. So let's jump in there. Who you need to pick up this week to help you secure your fantasy championship. This is when winners are crowned. Pick up the guys before other people do. We got a lot of injuries. Elijah Mitchell. We talked about other injuries as well. Let's start, though, at the quarterback position. We got 3 on the board, 2 you suggested, and then I brought Marcus Mariota up there. Carson Wentz.
Let me say one quick thing too about The Wire, because I believe, as your redraft Sherpas, my advice is that you got a really small time window to get these primo guys. So we are focusing heavily on the data we've collected from week 1, and these first 4 weeks, you're going to get that stud that's going to maybe take you to the championship. So, this is the time. This is where you get. I mean, last year I remember I did 100 fab on Elijah Mitchell in every one of my leagues after week 1.
You did.
I don't think there's anybody like that in this show, but this, after a few weeks, we're going to bring in trades to get paid because the wire is not as important as it is right now. This is get that guy that we all missed in the draft.
Well, let's talk about good news, bad news here. And I want to lead off with Carson Wentz. Listening to RG3 today on the Junkies was pretty cool. He did his first segment, 8 o'clock a.m. Every Monday, he's going to be on there plugging that for our boy Cakes. We love Cakes. He's in the Crab Cakes League here, one of our fantasy football leagues. Anyway, I digress. RG3 said that Carson Wentz had the most Carson Wentz, 3 quarters of football or 1 quarter of football, whatever it was, that he could ever imagine. He threw, 3 touchdowns. He threw
4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 2 interceptions. 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He turned the ball over in consecutive throws, back-to-back plays. Terrible read on the across the field play. You don't throw across the field like that. And the second one, he just didn't even look. He just threw the ball right into the rookie Walker's hand. So RG3 was correct. And the good news about this is, though, right? He giveth and he takes away. Right. So he gives the ball to the other team, which causes the other team to score. Not great in the game, but that gives him another opportunity to go down and chuck it and fuck it again. Right. And then he does. And then he turns it over to the other team and then they score. And then he's got prolonged game play involved. He's not blowing anybody out because he'll turn the ball over. That's the thing. He's going to keep all these games where he needs to be in them and needs to be throwing the football. So I think Carson Wentz right now is a great pickup, primarily because he sucks and their defense sucks. So it's going to be they have to throw the football and run the football too, but they're going to have to throw the football because they're going to be losing. I bet you in Detroit, they both score 28 to 27 points in the game against Detroit because Detroit put 30 up against the Eagles, and the Commanders' defense is not the Eagles, So I think Carson Wentz definitely could be a boon right now if you got Dak Prescott injured on your team like I do. I'm going to be getting Wentz tonight, putting a little fab on him for sure. What about your opinion on Wentz? What do you think?
I've never thought Carson Wentz stinks. I've always thought that he has been mediocre to good, and at times flashing great.
He was an MVP, so he was great at times.
But I honestly believe the whole narrative on Carson Wentz is built from him beginning and having the majority of his career in Philly, and all that hate has followed him around because that's what Philly does. That is the city of brotherly haterade, dude. Yeah, this is what they do. Carson Wentz, he's undrafted. Nobody drafted him. Yeah. I think if you have Dak Prescott, I think if you have any of these late round QBs, and you're thinking about playing a QB carousel, he is a must add. 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, 101 QB rating. Yeah. He was balling out. And here, let me say this too. This is why I'm so excited. I'm not Carson Wentz. This is what we've talked about him before the season plenty. I always said he is at least in the top half of QBs in the league. Okay. This is why I think he might be even better. Like maybe, fringe QB1, 12, something like that. Looks like Jahan Dotson was a great first-round draft pick. Looks like Curtis Samuel is back to being what we thought he could be.
Finally had a heel growing after like a year and a half of a growing injury.
He has 3 legit weapons, and he has Bo's favorite guy, Logan Thomas, back on the football field. That is an arsenal. He has Antonio Gibson.
I was say, what about
looking like a Gibson monster.
Too? Yeah.
Carson Wentz is, he's the ad, bro. And,
I agree.
And then also Jameis Winston, I'm just as excited about him as well.
Yeah.
Both both of those guys.
He's got Michael
I would
Thomas.
take either one.
Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara.
Michael Thomas,
only-
Kamara.
The only issue is that
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah,
Good old Jarvis Landry doing what he does every season. Everybody is just always fading him, and every year he's like, I'm not done. I'm not old. And he's just a nice safety valve for Jameis.
He is.
And then you have the exciting rookie. You know, you got Kamara. I mean, and then Jameis Winston. I mean, he first round draft pick. I mean, he's an exciting football player. I mean, I've heard a lot of analysts talk about how they think that this could be a really exciting year for him. That the field kind of has rightly so built a lot of doubt based on the way he's played, his decision making, his press conferences, but it doesn't matter once he's on that football field.
Well, let's talk about it, right? So you're gonna love this. He threw for 269 yards,
Nice.
2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 111. You love to see that. That's the shit you want to see, folks. And yeah, the Atlanta Falcons are doo-doo, but still, we'll see what happens this week. We might talk about Jameis later in our DFS Stacks of Cash. Marcus Mariota, oh man, right? Old Marcus Mariota from the Tennessee Titan days. What did you think of his performance? If you can't get any of these guys, you're in a deeper league. Maybe you're in a system where you got the 2 QBs going and he's available. What do you think about Marcus Mariota? You in on him at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have those 2 guys because
72 yards rushing and a touchdown.
I mean, he's always done those he's always done those kind of things. And when you have a quarterback with his, elite level of speed and ability to rush the football, they're an asset. 19.8
points, 20 points. That's what he gets.
You saw Jalen Hurts, was like, 2 for 10, 0 touchdowns, in like the first, quarter and a half. And he had like 15 fantasy points because he already had like 100 yards rushing. So
right. Yeah, at one point he was the 5th leading rusher in the NFL that week.
Right. Right. So rushing QBs are,
they matter.
Yeah.
They matter. Well, that's a great segue to talk about running backs because they actually are rushing players. That's like what they do. Running backs, rushing backs, whatever you want to call them. Situation going on in San Francisco. Elijah Mitchell out with a knee injury. Enter Jeff Wilson. ADP did not play. Sorry, TDP. Call me ADP. TDP did not play. He was a scratch last game. I'm sure he'll probably get more run though. But Jeff Wilson looks to be the bell cow there. I would go Jeff Wilson, I think, as my priority running back number 1. Is that where you're leaning as well?
I'm actually probably going to make the move on TDP because
you're going TDP. Tell me more.
Well, I just think Jeff Wilson is the
veteran.
He's the understudy, and he's going to be the person that is
the goal line carry.
Well, he's going to be the guy that they're trotting out first play, first quarter next week. That it's going to be Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson is the 1A back, but he's Jeff Wilson. We know what he is. He's not Elijah Mitchell, and Elijah Mitchell has, I think it's an MCL sprain, so it's a 2-month deal, maybe longer. Not good. And I just think that if you are willing to wait, then Tyrone Davis Price is gonna. I think he has the upside to take the backfield away from Jeff Wilson, and I could see it moving into a timeshare pretty quickly. Like probably not this coming week, but I think he'll take advantage of his opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like that call. Talk about taking advantage of his opportunities. He seems to do this regularly. It's not like he's never done this before, but we kind of overlooked him this year, despite my tweet going viral on 1.5 million people watching this, Jamie. Jamal Williams
Jamal Williams, bro.
Jamal is 16 points, 2 touchdowns. He's the goal line back apparently. And
Goal line back.
It just is what it is.
Played 33% of the snaps, according to our man Salvetri.
Like Sal.
Well, this led to him seeing 42% of the RB opportunities. Yeah, that guy is probably on your waiver wire.
He should be on the team.
And it doesn't look like it's funny. We're filming this show right now, 5:00 on Monday. So we have not seen the Denver-Seattle game yet. And, everybody is anticipating this, Javonte Williams step forward season. If it's just the same thing again, that is kind of the way it was, since they've been on the team together, Swift and Jamal Williams, Swift gets them all the way down the field and then they give it to Jamal on the goal line. So I definitely think he's a nice pickup.
I agree with you 100%. Who knew that Dontrell Hilliard was the running back to have in Tennessee? 2 touchdowns as well. Passing back, looks like he gets that PPR volume. What do you think about this development? Is this how it's going to be all year? Is the king dead?
No way. But he's probably out of all of these backs on here. And before we go to the next page, I want to ask what we would bid auction wise for each of these guys.
Okay, yes,
I'll say out of all of these guys, I'm probably, unless I have Dak or, I'm weak at quarterback because quarterback's so crucial. I'm probably most excited about Dontrell Hilliard. He is the third down back on that football team.
Why now?
Yeah. This is also from Sal. He saw 88% of the third down snaps, and in 2021 was the most efficient rusher. So I am probably,
leaning Dontrell.
Yeah, out of all of these guys, I think, if you're playing in PPR, this guy has a lot of upside, dude. Because they just, for whatever reason, they're doing it again with Derrick Henry. For whatever reason, they've just decided he is running back. He run with football.
He run ball.
And they're not throwing him the ball.
He established run, and then he come out to watch other backs score points.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's true. All right, I'll go through Carson Wentz. I would probably bid if I needed a quarterback desperately, probably 17 maybe. It depends on my league. It depends on what people in my league are up to. Maybe get away with 15 to 14. But if you're in an arms race and somebody needs a quarterback and you're both kind of a couple different people, it pays to know your league. It pays to know who's on other people's rosters. Before you ever do, is just a word of advice. You pick up your own players. Go look at everybody else's roster in the league. That gives you a sense of who they're going to go after, and then that can help who you're going to be probably bidding against. It's just pretty smart to do. And then go look at their bids too, so you can kind of price gauge them and figure out what they do. What about you for Wentz? What's your price?
Yeah, I'm in the teens. It's none of these guys are blow your fab. So
under 20% for sure for all of them.
Yes, I would say under 20% for all of them too. I think Dontrell Hilliard, depending on your needs at running back, like if you have Elijah Mitchell, did you see that tweet that was what if this was your team, dude? This was all over the internet today.
No, I did not. I was working today the whole day.
I mean, seriously, this is just week 1, dude. This is how it was. You could have started Dak Prescott, Najee Harris, Elijah Mitchell, Allen Robinson, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts, CeeDee Lamb, Eagles D, Dustin Hopkins, and you would have thought, I'm walking.
Good team.
That is a great team, right? 36 points. That's rough, bro.
That's a rough.
Yeah, that is rough. I'd say teens for Jameson, Carson.
Mariota might be 9.
Mariota is 8. Yeah. I'm not sweating him.
Maybe even 3.
Yeah. I wouldn't
$0.
Yeah. I'm not
$0 bid on that.
I think he's gonna lose his job sooner or later.
Yeah.
I would say I'm going low on Jeff Wilson. I
$4,
really,
$3.
Yeah, probably for me.
What about 8 or 9 for TDP, or maybe 7?
I think same deal because like maybe close to double digits for TDP just because I would want him. I think Jamal Williams is in that neighborhood, and then I think Dontrell Hilliard is right around like 20%.
Yeah. No, I think it plays, as the kids say. Let's talk about another group. And I think there is a player here, depending on Najee Harris's injury, could have a nice role going forward. But I put 4 more or 6 more running backs here altogether. You gave me a couple too, and I put a couple more in here. Let's just go across the board and rank Jalen Warren, Rex Burkhead, Isaiah Pacheco, Khalil Herbert, Zach Moss, Brandon Bolden. Who do you want first out of this group if you're trying to pick somebody up this week?
Well, Brandon Bolden had a nice game. He also exited the game with a hamstring injury.
So I was unaware of that. That's
zero for Brandon. Okay.
Zero. Maybe that means Amir White.
Our boys Amir White may get to see the field sooner rather than later. Okay. Still has to deal with Amir Abdullah above him in the depth chart, but
sounds like a Disney movie.
Here's let's just go right to the one where everybody's wondering about, Jalen Warren. Okay. Yeah. There's conflicting reports here. Okay. I don't have this is Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, East Coast Dad's time. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 2 narratives. One is that he rolled his Najee Harris rolled his ankle, and it is not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. It's not even an ankle. It's that he rolled his ankle and it affected his foot
because he has a Liz Frank.
And maybe he goes week 2. Okay. That's one narrative. So again, we're 5:30 East Coast Standard Time on
year of our Lord,
September 12th, 2022. Okay. The other one is that it's a high ankle sprain and it is a problem, and it's going to be a problem all season.
Yeah.
I think when you make your bid, you better know. Okay. Because I do think that if
a wide range of outcomes there.
Well, if Najee Harris is going to be out for significant time, then Jalen Warren is the ad of week 1.
Right. He wins you a few weeks.
Oh yeah. He's gonna do well. That offense is gonna, they're gonna be competitive in every single game because of their defense and because of their coaching staff, and he's going to have red zone opportunities. So he is, to me, the probably the most important guy to get off the waiver wire, barring this alternate narrative that Najee Harris is not that injured.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's the one I want to pick up. I'm interested, though, in Isaiah Pacheco a little bit as well. 12 carries. So maybe it's more of the blowout, but still, like, you see him in that role already, trusted with 12 carries, picks up a touchdown. Dude.
I feel like he was drafted a lot, though, because he was that sexy. He might not be on your wire.
He might not be. He might. You're right. I mean, listen, we're also in a league with a bunch of sharps. So...
I mean, he went in almost every draft because everybody was just so like,
because he's a chief.
Yeah, well, he's a chief, and there was just a lot of, there's a lot of hype around him, and then looks like he was worth whatever late round draft capital you spent on him.
Right. Down on the bottom, Khalil Herbert. If you're in a league with Bo McBrayer, you didn't get a chance to get him because he got him. But in that monsoon, godforsaken rainstorm down there, he did pick up a touchdown, had some carries, not the RB1, the RB2. Is he worth stashing maybe for cheap, maybe for $1, $2 if he's available?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice game. I do think he is gonna be a whatever percentage 30-70, 60-40. I think Khalil Herbert's going to be on the football field. So I think our man Bo, spicy take, spot on with the Khalil Herbert love.
Love it. Love it. Somebody who I had a little bit of love for in the beginning of the draft season, whatever you're saying, was James Cook. But man, that was not a good start. Fumbling, not looking great. Hold on, my family is yelling. So
that backfield is I hate
muddled.
it. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it. Zach
Fuddled.
Moss, I just feel like he's just going to be Zach Moss of 2021, just like somebody that only scores points when you don't start him. So
see, I feel like if James Cook does that again, he might get cut. So I'm kidding, but he will see the doghouse for the foreseeable future. I just like having shares. So if I could pick him up for $0, and he's me and you do this, we enter like 10 or 15 different bids, on a bunch of different guys. So that's one of my low bid $0 guys.
Here's the thing, though. I think James Cook. I always say this on the show. I'm not like I wasn't watching Georgia all last year, but I think James Cook is the best running back in that backfield. I don't think Devin Singletary or Zach Moss is anything that special. So, I mean, I think if you have James Cook, I pray somebody drops him, man, because I would pick him up. It's just a fumble. Everybody does it. It really did stink for all the people who have shares of James Cook, but I just think he fits that offense so perfectly. So I would cross my fingers somebody drops James Cook and then pick him up.
We should have a new segment called like waiver wire steals, when people drop them off and you pick them up. No, that's good. All right, let's jump to our,
what about
next...
Rex Burkhead?
Oh yeah, Sexy Rexy. I forgot about him.
That was so discouraging for my at least one share of Dameon Pierce teams. Rex Burkhead is the RB1 on that football team. And again, man, this is what we deal with rookies. I mean, they both
didn't run well. They both had their average yards per carry 2.9 for Rex Burkhead, 3 for Dameon Pierce. So, but it's all the targets and receptions for Burkhead. It's 8 targets, 5 receptions, only 30 yards still. Like it's all nice. It's like they're like the keyboard elves of fantasy. Everything's downsized. All the points are little.
All right. Let me ask you before we go to the next one. So we'll do the fab thing. What, let's say Najee Harris, high ankle sprain. What are you doing on Jalen Warren?
39.
Yeah, I like it. 39. Go hard in the paint the first few weeks. That's my strategy.
Yeah. And people won't. You do a 9. A 9 is a good number to do. And if you're trying to like outdo people, don't do a flat number. No one does, 40. Don't do that. You got if you do 40 or 50 or a flat number, unless it's like 100. If you do 100, like you flex it, whatever, it's cool. If you do like 60 and you lose like 61 or 60, it's stupid. Like who cares, right? Just pump up the volume.
How many times, if you put in that 39, are you going to look at it and then think, oh, Mike's going to bid 41. I got to bid 43.
I might make it 44 after it's all said and done. But here's the thing, like there's just a bunch of guys, and so we're gonna shift to wide receivers now, and there's a bunch of guys. We gotta go a little faster now because we got receivers galore. But Devin Duvernay, 2 touchdowns. You saw 54 yards. I love it. I love it. I was talking about him 2 years ago when he was drafted, and nothing happened, and I felt like a big idiot. And I drafted him on a bunch of teams. Now I feel actually like a savant,
Well, Devin Duvernay is wide receiver 2 theory, 100%. You in order for you're the creator. This is my synopsis. Again, just trying to put it succinctly as possible. You need you need an offense that can support 2 wide receivers. And in order to do that, you need an elite level quarterback most of the time. Lamar Jackson is that, And Devin Duvernay may end up being the wide receiver 1 on that team. We don't know. I mean, but he is definitely, I think, out of all of these guys on the screen, Jahan Dotson was probably drafted in 12-man leagues. I mean, he would be the number 1 ad.
Right. I was
but
going to
then
say
Devin Duvernay would be probably, number 2 for me.
Where did DeAndre Carter come from? What is going on?
Well, Keenan Allen gets the hamstring injury. That's such a bummer. So that just changes the whole look of that offense. Meanwhile, big letdown from Mike Williams week 1. That's why he's so frustrating. He's just going to be like that, though. You got to know what you're getting with him. He's going to have those 30-point weeks and then those 6-point weeks. But
I mean, yeah. Well, it wasn't like DeAndre Carter blew the roof off. He got 15 points, but that's almost the best that they could do, So,
well, he is the understudy. He is the backup for Keenan Allen. So that's who they're slotting in.
Yeah. That's he's a nice little sneaky grab. Not going to be expensive. What about Curtis freaking Samuel? If you don't get Jahan Dotson, that's one reason why I put him in here too. Is if Dotson is gone, Curtis Samuel is probably available in 110% of leagues.
110% of leagues for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. All about Curtis Samuel.
Me too. Look great.
Yeah. I mean, he has always been one of these guys that has been just tantalizing when you see the talent. So. I mean, what we saw this past week was what we've been waiting to see if you're a Commanders fan, and what he's flashed at times when he was a Panther. This is from my man Sal again. Okay. He played 71% of the snaps week 1, led the Commanders with 10 targets. Okay.
They're saying 11 targets on fantasy football stats.
Okay. So even more.
11.
Okay, Samuel played 20% less snaps than McLaurin and Dotson, but he ran just 4 less routes. This means Washington prioritized getting him on the field for passing plays. Okay, so he is he's a Kadarius Toney type player. He is quick witted. He is elusive. I definitely think he is a must add.
He's healthy. He's healthy.
Yeah. He's healthy. And guess what? He has a good quarterback.
He was a top 20 fantasy producer when he had a healthy sucky quarterback down in Carolina. So
he has a good quarterback, despite what you and all the people in Philly say, and the Indianapolis ownership.
I would say the reason I take a lot of my cues from owners who won't even speak to quarterbacks. And self-righteous guys who don't get vaccinated too. I wasn't into him. Him and his, I'm out with my Bible in the fields where I get safe from the vaccine. Shut up, man. Like, we're in a global pandemic, all that kind of stuff. I don't like that kind of stuff. That's my bias against Carson Wentz. I don't think he sucks forever. But he's not been fantasy viable for a long time.
He had a pretty good year last year.
He's a spot starter, but you're not. I mean. Here's the cool part. If you're not talking Carson Wentz narrative, redemption narrative, he lost to that Jacksonville Jaguars team last year to get eliminated from the playoffs as a Colt. So to come back and beat them, I do like that. That is a nice little, redemption arc. End the season.
Are the Commanders playing them? Who are they playing? They're not play the Lions this week.
No, I'm saying last year, Carson Wentz, as a Indianapolis Colt, played the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 18.
Oh, right. Yeah. Cool.
Eliminated him.
Cool.
And made
cool.
him,
Cool.
And he played like it was the 4th worst performance of any quarterback, according to one of these deep metrics.
It was a bad game.
The worst that he's played all season last year in the game to go to the playoffs. So I'm saying I think he did redeem himself. Curtis Samuel, big part of that.
I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
It was a redemption game for him. So I do like that. It's a good sign. Duvernay, Samuel, Dotson, Shepard if you're desperate, Dortch, just because, Bo mocked him so much. We got to.
Rondale Moore is also dealing with a hamstring injury.
Right.
So in
Injuries.
steps this guy I've never heard of named Greg Dortch, who
Bo made fun of him a bunch. It was pretty funny.
You guys were
on
chopping
DFS. DFS, he was just talking Dortch, but he had 9 targets. I mean, you got Dortch with 9 targets.
Yeah, 9 targets for Dortch. So,
AJ Green 4. Oh.
For the foreseeable future, Greg Dortch is a wire, viable. And then add to your lineup.
He's viable. Yeah, he fucks, as the kids say. All right, let's get on. We're moving on here. We got one more set, actually 2 sets. Zay Jones is a holdover wide receiver. He kind of spilled into the tight ends and DT's page, but whatever.
Worth a look.
There was somebody hyping him earlier. I'm not sure if it was Adam Levitan or somebody on Instagram a couple, before the season. They were like, he's the wide receiver 2 on that team. He's running all the X routes or whatever, Z routes, whatever it was, and he is. And he's a big body guy, and he can levitate. So I definitely think you could get him, and he's worth an ad.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Right, let's talk about tight ends. Who is your favorite ad here? Taysom Hill, Gerald Everett, or OJ Howard?
Taysom Hill, bro. Taysom Hill is get ahead of the curve on Taysom Hill because I've listened to lots of fantasy analysis on this guy. And I think everybody, this is what you do now that you have a data set. Okay. Everybody has been, kind of trying to predict the future, and nobody was talking about Taysom Hill for your draft. And the reason why is because there's a new head coach in town, and we just don't know what that offense is going to look like. Well, looks like that offense is taking a play right out of Sean Payton's playbook, and they are going to use Taysom Hill in the red zone, as every team in the NFL should do. He is such an X factor when he gets down there. I mean, he runs right at linebackers, no problem. That guy, he is a tight end.
Manimal. He's a manimal.
He can do. Taysom Hill, to me, is you listen, if you have Kyle Pitts, I mean, yeah, right. I like, if you have one of the first 3 guys, you'll be good. Kyle Pitts will be good. I'm sure of it. Okay. Does kind of my confidence has been taking its percentages knocked down after week 1, but first 3 tight ends, you should be good. Any of the other tight ends, we don't know. With TJ Hawkinson, not that great a week. We don't know. I would say getting yourself a tight end 1 off the waiver wire, that's how you win your leagues,
For sure.
And if they keep playing this brand of football they played, of course, they're playing the Falcons, so not every week is going to be that high scoring. But I just think, first of all, if you're a Kamara owner, bummer, okay? Because there he is again, down there doing Taysom Hill things.
100%. I love it. Also, to take a look at, Gerald Everett. We kind of talked about him earlier. I think maybe it was privately, just in our own private conversations. But dude looked like a hoss. Grown ass man out there. I love how he changes to number 7. He looks slimmer. He looks like a wide receiver. He doesn't look like a tight end.
I thought he was when he caught that touchdown.
Right. I mean, he is a man beast. 54 yards on 4 targets, 3 receptions. Got that 25-yard touchdown. I love him. I love him. Grab him. Get him. He should be on a team. And then OJ Howard resurfacing. Good for him.
I like OJ Howard too, man. I don't think them getting him and then him having 2 touchdowns week 1 is an aberration. I think
they need that. All their guys are little. I told you, they're like the Keebler elves of the NFL.
Yeah, right. So I mean, he's
Burkhead or OJ Howard in the red zone. Who are you going to get the ball to?
Right.
Yeah. No, I love it. There's a lot of good plays. Let's talk defense. You got one. I got one. I got here Joe Burrow running for his freaking life, about to get murdered by the Pittsburgh defense. We will caveat this. It looks like the torn pec is real, you know. So that's a problem for TJ. I love him, man. He's a beast. Set the sack record last year. What do you think? He's still viable for Pittsburgh picking him up? You're still not worried about it?
I mean, I do think that you know, it muddies the waters slightly. I just think that defense is ridiculous, and you know, probably went undrafted in a lot of leagues, and I think they're going to be a problem all year long. And you know, I don't know what the timeline is for Peck. Is that season ending? Because don't you see guys sometimes kind of boot it up and get back on there?
I mean, we'll see what his how much tea he has, you know.
Yeah, I feel like there are times when people have come back and maybe, you know, but that I mean, that does
not good. It's not good.
It's not good. Changes the landscape of that defense for sure. But I still think they have ball hawks everywhere you look.
They do, yeah. And I like you know, Mike Tomlin is a motivator too. You know, he's not the defensive coordinator, but you know, motivator he does do. My team is the Browns. Maybe they were drafted, maybe not. Man, they did give up some touchdowns late to Baker Mayfield, and Baker, what a guy, spiking the football into the eye of the Panther, just like such a loser. So funny. Just like make another Geico commercial or whatever, commercial, Progressive, whatever it was. I don't even know what the name of it was. But I like the Browns defense. They get after you. And they got some good corners. And they didn't have that one blown coverage. They played a pretty tight game overall, and that was on the road. So those are the pickups there. Next section, because we got to go a little faster now. Elevate, mitigate, eviscerate. Let's talk here. Your guys, my guys. My biggest guy is Jaylen Warren. And I mean, I'm going off the thought that he is going to be the RB1 there with Najee missing some time. So if it doesn't happen, like Mike said, adjust the ranks. But if he does, that's the guy you're going to be starting every week for me. And then this is not Christian McCaffrey down here. Sorry, that I didn't change the graphic. That's Devin Duvernay. I'm putting him in there as well. What about you? Who do you have in there on this list that you are going to be starting next week?
Kareem Hunt, dude. I mean, you drafted him, and you might have had some trepidation. So it looks like
good pick for you if you picked him.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett is exactly what you think he's going to be, and
a little Baker Mayfieldy.
I mean, just, you know, a backup quarterback playing, you know, starting for your NFL team, and I think that enhances Kareem Hunt's value even further because he's just they're gonna have to use him, and he is just so explosive. Kareem Hunt all day, man. He's playing the Jets this week. I love it.
To the moon. I love it so much. We talked about him earlier, Carson Wentz, and you know, maybe you don't have both. Maybe we're not DFSing here with a stack, but either one, if you know, playing Jahan Dotson, he's got to be in your lineup now. He's getting
Jahan Dotson. I have shares, and he is going to be elevated. Yep.
Playing Detroit. This game is going to shoot. The total should be about 52.
100%, dude. Yeah. Carson Wentz. He's going to run it back. I could
DeAndre Swift to the moon next week.
I bet you Carson Wentz has 3 touchdowns this week.
I bet you that DeAndre Swift has 2 touchdowns next week receiving on this terrible defense. Davis is Javian Davis. Is that his name? The middle linebacker who if Jamin Davis if Trevor Lawrence could hit a wheel route, a freaking little drop, a little bucket, Travis Etienne walks in, gets a touchdown. If Travis Etienne could catch a ball, he gets another touchdown too. So, yeah, this Washington football team is ripe for the picking from somebody like, you know, Swift, who can do it. And then, dude, I do love Devin Duvernay. Just the opportunity is going to be there, you know, and you know that this is a high explosive offense, and broken plays haven't even started happening yet. These are targeted plays. Wait till the broken plays start happening. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's gonna be a great situation. So I say play him as well. Let's go to mitigate. This is you got to put these guys on the shelf for a little bit. You know, we're not doing Eviscerate this week because, you know, we're nice, but we are mitigating some people. I'll let you start. Who's your main mitigator?
Kadarius Toney on all of my redraft leagues is going on the bench. not dropping him because the talent is there, but there is something behind the scenes that we just do not know about. I don't watch Ted Lasso. I saw Ian Hartitz make a tweet about Kadarius Toney's play on Sunday is literally the equivalent of Ted Lasso benching some character in the Ted Lasso show after he scores two goals. I mean, the talent is there, but something ain't right between him and the coaching staff. Maybe that changes, but from now until I see differently, Kadarius Toney.
Yeah. Damian Pierce is on that list as well. And until he gets targets, it's just not worth it. He's not, unless he scores a touchdown, you're not getting any value there at all. I love James Robinson, by the way. He's on all the teams. I would just be hesitant this week. He's playing the Colts. They did a pretty good job against Pierce and against Rex Burkhead. I'm not against James Robinson, but if you have somebody better, maybe he's not getting 2 touchdowns this week. I'll say that. He's probably not rushing for 2 touchdowns this week. He's probably going to get you like 12 points, just so you know. So if you have somebody else in the flex, a wide receiver perhaps, that's somebody.
I'll tell you another wide receiver too that's up there that I'm bummed out about, but based on week 1 data, until I see Jalen Hurts, being a little bit more what everyone's hoping he can become in terms of a pocket passer. I think Devonta Smith just takes a huge hit, dude. Like, I have shares of him, and why if you're kind of like a one read guy, are you going to look at Devonta Smith? Like, I mean, he might pop, he might have games, but I think right now it's AJ Brown's football team, and I don't think the Eagles are going to be a team that fits into wide receiver 2 theory. So Devonta Smith looks like he's very matchup dependent, and you're going to have to look at when to start him based on what corners or what defenses are on AJ Brown.
60% of the time, it works every time.
A couple of your graphics are wrong. You had Christian McCaffrey in the last, and then you have Dalvin Cook for Trey Lance here.
No, I know. Well, here's the thing. I was going so fast to try to finish all these.
No worries.
Yeah. I'll make sure it's 2.
Because that's not Dalvin Cook.
No, it's not. Well, so what I did was I made this as a demo, and I put Dalvin Cook in here to show you, and then I just didn't get to change it. But that is Trey Lance getting destroyed. It's not Trey Lance season.
It's not Trey Lance season, bro. I have him in the analytics league.
He's no shares. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I have Derek Carr because I was a little worried about him, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to get Carson Wentz for week 2 because Trey Lance is taking a back seat for a little bit.
I agree. He's a little poopy pants. I'll say Cole Kmet. He might get cut, but we'll see. He might be eviscerate. Let's talk about DFS Stacks of Cash, and we're rolling to 3 tweets, and we'll get out of here. This year, we're rolling out the graphics. We've got our diamond stacks, our gold stacks, and our silver stacks. Let's start with you. This is yours. This is Cash, and this is me, Stacks, over here. Oh, my lovely wife just brought some Chipotle. Oh, thank you. It's not a burrito? Okay.
You want to start with silver and go to diamond?
Yeah, let's start at the bottom. Talk about yours first.
Talking about him all show long.
Cash
guy, Carson Wentz, Jahan Dotson. You got 5,800 for Wentz, 4,200 for Jahan Dotson. Comes out to a nice even 10K. And I don't think Jahan Dotson's going to have 2 touchdowns again, but I could see Carson Wentz having 3, and I could see Jahan Dotson having 1 or getting 15 points, getting some receptions. Carson Wentz loves this kid, and he's $4,200.
Really cheap. I think it's great. Sal Vetri was talking him up, and I put him in a bunch of lineups after he did, and I love that play. Let me talk about my stack. My stack has Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston. And yes, they're going up against Tom Brady, and Tom Brady looked great, and not Tom Brady, but the defense looked great. Jameis Winston, for this amount of money, I'm willing to gamble here. Michael Thomas probably not going to get 2 touchdowns, but he's like 500 or 5,300. What is going on here? I don't understand.
How much is he?
I think he's 5,800. Let me check and see. It's ridiculous. Like, he should be like thousands of dollars, you know?
I mean, and this is why he's a very sexy pick. I mean, last week I have multiple shares of Michael Thomas in redraft, and I think I only started him in one because of all the injury concerns. And I'm going to lose games because I didn't start him. Started Kadarius Toney. And the thing is that was the week that you had to be worried about him. I mean, he's good to go, dude. I mean, you know, if he's sub 6, he's a lock. You have to start him.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's go to your gold stack.
Okay. Gold stack. Listen, I watched some Twitter analysis. I didn't go back and rewatch the game. Watch some people cutting clips of the Rams-Bills game. That Bills defense is legit, and Allen Robinson was open a lot. And I buy into Sean McVay is one of the most elite coaches in the league, and they are going up against the Falcons. I think this is going to be get everybody right. We are Super Bowl champions. We are elite, and let's make sure that we get a touchdown for Allen Robinson. So, you know, Stafford, I think, is 62 or 63.
63,
63. And then Robinson is 56. So it's you know, it's just it's a simple stack with those two. But I do think that this is going to be like, if Allen Robinson has another bad week, then we can all collectively just say there's something wrong, you know. But I don't think there is anything wrong. I just think it was a game script for that last game.
I like that. I'm going to go with Michael Pittman, and he's priced up. He got priced up $1,200, which I understand. I would be too. I mean, he scored a touchdown. He looked good, over 100 yards. But Matt Ryan, not very expensive. He's still just cheap as shit. So they're going up against Jacksonville, and you just saw what Carson Wentz did to Jacksonville, right? So I say run it back. It's very cheap. It's in the gold range for sure. Let's talk about your executive platinum super diamond stack.
I mean, listen, you can start it every week and you're going to be fine. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. You know, Matthew Stafford had a horrible game for fantasy purposes. Cooper Kupp did not. And, you know, I think this is a potential fat stack with Robinson and Kupp. I'll definitely be building a pretty large percentage of lineups with both of those two. Kupp's 9,900. Stafford, as you said, is 6,300. You know, Kupp's probably going to get into the end zone again. I bet you he does. He's on pace for 3,000 yards and 35 touchdowns, dude. I mean, he is just unbelievable on the football field. So it's expensive. That's where guys like Jahan Dotson can help you out.
Exactly. I love it. All right. Mine is, man, pretty cheap. 9,900 for Cooper Kupp. Devontae Adams, 8,600. 8,600. And they're going up against Arizona, right? And we just saw what happened. Arizona is a sieve. They're still giving up touchdowns. They're still giving up passing touchdowns. Travis Kelce made my nut in the first quarter. You know, like it's an awesome stack. It's cheap. Derek Carr, not very high priced. I think he's only 6,200. Let me pull him up real quick, just check and see. He's a cheapy guy. Let me see.
Yeah, well, he had a bad game last
He did.
game, so
He did, and you know what? That means he'll be not very people will not be on him. So you get a little bit of differentiation. That game hits, you shoot. So all right.
All right, let me ask you before we go to 3 tweets. I know we got to go fast, but
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yes, sir.
Since it's week 1. All right. Since we talked Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, who's the best wide receiver in the National Football League between Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, and Justin Jefferson? Who do you think is the most talented wide receiver?
Justin Jefferson's the best.
You think so?
Oh yeah. You can't stop him.
Yeah. It's hard.
So fast.
It's a hard call for me. I can't call it. I can't
He
call
had 30 points. He had 10 more than anybody else.
He's ridiculous, dude.
So I drafted him, by the way.
Yep. God blessed you with that pick so you could get him. So yeah.
Everything's got to God, honestly. You know.
All right. Other question. Week 1, who's going to be in the Super Bowl and who's going to win? Week 1 prediction.
Which tweet is your first one? This one?
Allen
Robinson?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's good. Wait. Start over. Week 1, who's going to the Super Bowl and who's going to win it?
Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, and they're going to beat Minnesota.
Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're going to beat the Bucks.
The Bucks. Oh, I forgot the Bucks. I'll say Bucks too. I'll change.
Okay, double prediction.
Are you doing the Bills too?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
And maybe the Bucks win. Maybe Tom Brady gets 8.
Oh my gosh! Here we go.
You ready?
Allen Robinson debut highlight.
Let's go.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Let's watch it
You
again.
ready? Let's go.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
that's just one of those kind of things that just I couldn't stop laughing when I saw that. I don't know why.
It's very, very funny.
That got me.
So here's my tweet. I'm trying to actually go to my tweet. It's not working. All right. This is my tweet. Aaron Rodgers getting off the plane in Minnesota. He got a new haircut the other day. And look, our boy Jorge. Yeah, I'm eating a burrito. My wife brought me a burrito from Chipotle deconstructed. I had to make it myself. I don't understand. It's never what I get. I don't understand what's going on, but I'm starving. I haven't eaten in days. But he got off the plane the other day, and immediately I just thought, I've seen this guy before. He's on Doug on Nickelodeon. He's a jerk. And so I put this out there the other day, and it got over 2,000 likes. So, I thought it was funny. I think yours is funnier. I think you win 3 tweets. But, I want to toot my own horn a little bit because, my horn needed tooting. Because that it fit the mold. Also, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, ayahuasca to everybody, So,
yep, go hard it up. Let's get it to 3,000.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's get your tweet in here.
All right. So this is from PFF, and I'm glad Jorge's tuning in, and hopefully Bo hears this. This is in regards to Jalen Reagor, special teams coordinator Matt Daniels. He's a very stout, cocky-built guy, narrow, thick, strong legs, big glutes, really nice calves. I was salivating over this dude, and then the tweet was pause. Pause.
Who tweeted that? PFF?
Yeah, I think so.
They said pause. I thought
Pause.
you said. Oh,
They said pause.
that's hilarious. Pause.
Pause. They paused that, as they should. It's a perfect pause.
That's
That you can't find a better pause than that.
Let's look at the description. Stout, cocky, thick, strong, big,
Glutes.
salivating, glutes.
Glutes.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's hilarious. I love it. Congrats on winning 3 tweets. Well done. Perfect. Where can people find you, good sir?
I am known as the Ralph Macho on the Twitter machines. I also have a show that we do here on Mondays called the Fantasy
I've
Millionaires.
seen that show. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you are the most macho dude I've ever met before who loves gats and baseball bats and fat sacks of cash. So
Mm-hmm. I
it's
do
all
love
true.
Fat Stacks of Cash.
You do. Yes. And you can find me, NimbleWNumbers, on Twitter and on NimbleWNumbers.com and on YouTube. We're crushing it this year. We're creating a bunch of content for DFS and for fantasy purposes as well. The Millionaires, NimbleWNumbers are both rocking it on YouTube. So check us out there. We've got growing content on both platforms. So drippy burritos to everybody. I hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to watch Monday Night Football. Who's your prediction for tonight? We'll go on that. Since we were now before the Monday Night Football, now we can enjoy it.
Broncos murder them.
What's the score? They win by 14. The spread was like what, 7.5?
Yeah, they cover that spread for sure.
I believe they do. I think Russell Wilson could get 4 touchdowns.
I think it's like 35-14.
It's sexy. So, well, thank you, everybody. We will see you guys next time. And as Mike always likes to say,
War.